Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're cutting through the noise on something many of us use almost daily: dietary supplements. I mean, think about how widespread they are now, boosting energy, supporting immunity. They've really become, well, staples in health routines all over the world.
Absolutely. And we've seen usage just surge, haven't we? Especially over the last 20 years or so.
Right. And things like the pandemic really accelerated that demand, for immune-boosting stuff, anti-inflammatory solutions.
Instantly. Aggressive marketing played a big role there, too.
But okay, beneath this picture of everyone wanting to be healthier, there's a pretty critical question, is there? What hidden risks might this expose consumers to?
Yeah, that's the key.
So our mission today is really to unpack an alarming problem, one that's often unseen: the adulteration of dietary supplements. We're talking about undeclared, unapproved, synthetic pharmaceutical drugs being secretly added to products.
And this deep dive, well, it directly impacts your personal safety. And the trust you place in the things you consume every day. We're going to pull back the curtain a bit on how complex this issue actually is. We'll reveal not just what the problem is, but how cutting-edge science and dedicated experts are tackling it, to protect consumers like you.
Okay, so let's dive straight into that core problem: the intentional inclusion of active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, and supplements.
Right.
And these aren't just tiny mistakes we're talking about. It's things like steroids, powerful stimulants, and phosphodiesterase type 5 inhibitors, PDE5 inhibitors, slipped in without any mention on the label. It's basically a clandestine operation.
And a key aspect here is where this happens most often. We consistently find these undeclared ingredients and supplements marketed for sexual enhancement, weight loss, and bodybuilding. Those seem to be the big three.
Yeah.
To give you a really stark example, ever since PDE5 inhibitors were discovered for treating erectile dysfunction, or ED, well, many over-the-counter ED supplements have since been found to contain undeclared synthetic versions or analogs of these very drugs.
Wow. And the immediate danger there, I mean, it really can't be overstated, can it?
No, absolutely not.
What's truly insidious, I think, is how these illegal adulterants don't just add an unapproved drug. They can turn something you trust for wellness into a potentially lethal cocktail, especially if you have other health conditions.
That's the critical point. And stepping back, this has wider public health implications. Around 60, maybe 70% of ED cases actually occur in patients who already have cardiovascular conditions.
Okay, right.
So this highlights a huge risk. Those PDE5 inhibitors can interact really badly, extremely adversely, with medications people are already taking for heart diseases. It creates this silent, very dangerous interaction.
And here's where it gets really tricky for consumers, something I think many people just don't realize. Manufacturers often use incredibly advanced masking techniques. It makes detection extremely difficult for, the average person, or even for many standard labs.
That's right. They're getting sophisticated.
So consumers, completely unaware, they could be misled by marketing claims, maybe suffer severe adverse effects, all while thinking they're taking something beneficial. It's like a hidden minefield out there.
It really is. And the systemic challenge we face here is just the sheer complexity of modern supplement supply chains.
Right. Global, complicated.
Exactly. You often have multiple intermediaries, international suppliers. It's this labyrinthine structure. And it makes it incredibly difficult to trace the exact origin of ingredients or pinpoint precisely where the adulteration might have happened.
So without rigorous testing at different stages.
Exactly. Without that, contaminated or adulterated products can easily slip through and reach consumers completely undetected. This is why independent, rigorous testing isn't just, a nice to have. It's really the only way to cut through this global complexity.
You described it earlier as an arms race, and that feels about right.
It really is.
As the dietary supplement industry keeps growing so fast, so does the sophistication of those trying to get around the rules.
Yeah, adulterators are constantly developing new methods, not just to disguise synthetic substances, but often trying to mimic natural compounds, trying to fool the tests. It's a constant game of chemical cat and mouse.
So that raises a big question for the analytical chemists doing the testing. What specific challenges do they actually face?
Well, there are quite a few. First, you've got what we call complex matrices. Imagine trying to find one tiny, specific, illicit ingredient hidden in a really thick, multi-layered soup. That's kind of the challenge.
Right.
All those natural compounds, herbs, binders, excipients, they make it incredibly difficult for the instruments to spot the hidden synthetic chemicals.
Right, it masks them.
Exactly. Second, there are evolving adulterants. New molecules, new masking agents are constantly popping up, so testing protocols need continuous proactive updates. You can't stand still.
Always playing catch-up.
Pretty much. Third, there's often a trade-off between speed versus sensitivity. Rapid screening methods are fast, which is good for volume, but they might lack the sensitivity needed to accurately detect really low levels, trace contaminants.
Okay. And finally, there's limited access. Not every lab has the super high-end advanced instrumentation needed to perform these really sophisticated analyses. It's expensive equipment.
So quite a few significant hurdles there. But despite those challenges, you're saying there's some hope. Advances in chemistry are helping.
Oh, absolutely. Advances in analytical techniques are helping to close that gap. They're making it harder for these illicit substances to slip through the net undetected.
Good. So how are they doing that? How are these specialized labs fighting back?
Well, it really comes down to employing advanced scientific methods. Their core mission is, at its heart, quite simple: making sure the food, ingredients, and dietary supplements you use are safe and high quality, no matter where they come from or where you buy them.
And their chemistry capabilities sound pretty extensive for actually identifying and quantifying these adulterants.
They are. It includes identifying those synthetic adulterants, detecting undeclared APIs like anti-inflammatories, those PDE5 inhibitors we talked about, even things like anti-diabetics or sleep aids found where they shouldn't be.
They also perform trace contaminant analysis, identifying incredibly low levels of pesticides, heavy metals, think lead, arsenic, cadmium, and various industrial contaminants that might sneak in.
And it's not just about the bad stuff, right? They do other things too.
Correct. Plus, they handle crucial work like stability and shelf life studies, making sure the product is good for its whole shelf life, method development and validation for new compounds or products, and even nutritional panel verification, making sure what the label says is in the product actually is in the product in the right amounts.
That verification sounds key.
It is. And the remarkable thing is the specific advanced techniques they use to do all this. Think about mass spectrometry or emissions, especially in its advanced forms like LC-MSMS or GC-MSMS.
Okay, what does that do?
That's like their ultimate chemical fingerprinting tool. It can identify a hidden drug in a really complex supplement mix with incredible certainty. It's like seeing a single specific grain of sand on a vast beach. Then there's high-performance liquid chromatography, or HPLC, that acts like a superfine sieve separating every single compound in a mixture so they can be inspected individually. Looking for anything suspicious.
Very precise.
Extremely. And for finding those heavy metals like lead or arsenic, they use inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, ICP-MS. That technique is so sensitive it can detect tiny amounts. We're talking far less than a drop of water in an Olympic swimming pool.
Incredible sensitivity.
It really is. And beyond just chemistry, they also use techniques like ELISA and PCR testing for detecting microbes or screening for potential allergens.
The rigor behind these methods, you mentioned validation, it sounds incredibly stringent.
It has to be. These methods aren't just used off the shelf. They're rigorously validated for accuracy, precision, making sure they work reliably every single time.
You mentioned spike recovery. Can you explain that a bit?
Sure. Spike recovery is basically adding a known tiny amount of a problem substance, say an undeclared drug, to a clean sample. Then you run the test. The goal is to make sure your system detects every bit of what you added. It proves the method is sensitive enough and accurate enough that the lab isn't missing anything or misreporting the results.
So why is that level of rigorous validation absolutely non-negotiable in this field?
Well, simply put, consumer safety is paramount. It's everything. Without that level of validation, you just can't trust the results. And if you can't trust the results, you can't ensure product safety. Full stop.
Makes sense.
And looking at the bigger picture, these labs also provide crucial support for compliance and helping brands get their products into global markets. They help navigate complex regulations and guidelines from bodies like the FDA in the US, USP standards, Codex Alimentarius internationally, the European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, Health Canada. The list goes on.
So it's not just testing, it's guidance too.
Exactly. Beyond just the testing itself, they support companies in developing really robust preventive control plans and quality management systems. The goal is to significantly reduce the risk of adulteration happening anywhere along that complex supply chain we talked about.
Okay, so bringing this all back to you, the listener, the consumer, what's the ultimate impact of all this scientific rigor and testing?
Well, It means scientific integrity you can hopefully trust, backed by decades of experience in food and supplement safety. It means global reach, often through a worldwide network of labs, offering tailored solutions because what works for one product or region might need adjusting for another.
Right. Customized.
Precisely. And it's all powered by innovative technologies. There's constant investment in new tools, new methods to try and stay ahead of those evolving threats from adulterators.
So these labs play a really crucial role then, partnering with manufacturers, retailers, even regulatory bodies to ensure that safe, high-quality supplements actually reach the shelf and ultimately reach you.
That's the goal.
So as you navigate the world of wellness products, this deep dive really highlights a critical, ongoing battle against dietary supplement adulteration. And it seems clear that as consumer demand keeps rising and global supply chains get even more complex, well, the need for this kind of reliable testing and chemistry support just becomes more critical than ever.
Absolutely. The unwavering dedication to staying ahead of adulterators is really quite fascinating. It requires continuous scientific excellence, constant innovation, and a truly global approach to quality and safety. It all has to prioritize the well-being of consumers, ultimately.
So maybe next time you pick up your daily supplement, just consider those hidden layers of trust and, well, scientific innovation that are hopefully beneath that label. How does understanding this invisible work of analytical chemistry empower you, really, to be a more informed and safer consumer in what's clearly an increasingly complex world? It definitely makes you think about the importance of, independent verification that goes way beyond just the marketing claims on the bottle.